What's good, you too, man? It's your boy SB, and I'm back with another sports break. Well, the moment finally happened, you guys. The Brooklyn Nets have descended into a bottomless pit, and it's been really, really tricky this season for them. Not sure what's going on with that organization, why they're starting to spiral into the bottom of the pit. But I'm here to go ahead and let you guys know everything that's happened. We're going to go down to the beginning of the offseason when they first started spiraling, into now when they just fired their head coach and looking to hire a new controversial one. So let's go ahead and get into it. The end of their last season didn't go the way that they planned. They had high aspirations, thought that they were going to be one of the top teams in the NBA, and they have every reason to think that. They have two of the top 10 players in the league on their team. That didn't happen. The opposite happened when they got swept up out of there by the Boston Celtics, and that started their offseason the wrong way, on the wrong foot. They traded James Harden to acquire Ben Simmons. He didn't really get to play much for them last season, but they really had high hopes going into this season that Ben Simmons would be more effective. The very first issue that they had to run into was the contract situation with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie's coming off a season where he wasn't available. He wasn't there for most of it. To be specific, half of it. But his contract was up. They had to make a decision and decide on if they were going to keep him or let him walk. They did decide to extend him and give him a little bit of a longer contract. I think they gave him like 3 years, 60 something million. Don't quote me on that. But they did give him a bag to stay with the team, and that's really at the behest of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant wanted him to be on the team. They wanted to be team members with each other, and he kind of held the organization hostage there, and got them to sign his man back and get him back onto the team. Then Kevin Durant himself, didn't like the way the organization handled that situation. Didn't like the way that they didn't fully support his guy in Kyrie Irving. And after they extended him, he decided that he wanted to request a trade to go to another team, which in my opinion kind of defeats the purpose of what we did here in the first place. But either way, he requested a trade. The team vehemently denied that trade request. They were like, no, we're not dealing you, man. You one of the top 3 team players in the NBA. No shot that we're going to trade you. You're going to stay here and play on your contract, especially since he was in the first year of a 5-year contract that he just signed. So there's no way that they were going to trade him at that point in time. So once he kind of got it in his mind that, if you're not going to trade me, then some things have to change. He gave him an ultimatum that said that even if they're not going to trade him, that he needs the coach Steve Nash to be fired or the GM Sean Marks to be fired. One of those two things have to go, or he's going to sit out the season and even threaten to retire from the NBA, which nobody ever believed. Sitting out, that's feasible. But how long are you going to sit out for, man? You ain't sitting out a whole season. And definitely not going to retire that early in his career, which some people might think that he's still in his prime. So no shot that retirement thing was going to go through. So the team kind of called his bluff. They let him know, hey, neither of those things are going to happen. We're not firing our coach and we're not firing our GM. So push come to shove, they stood strong, they stand pat. Ended up being a agreement between the organization and Kevin Durant to let him know that he's going to be staying. He's going to go ahead and play the season, even with the coach and the GM still intact, which once again, make sure that none of this was really even needed to happen. He was really throwing a fit this offseason and didn't get his way at all. Well, that was until yesterday when the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets was fired. That would be Steve Nash was let go and relieved of his duties. After the team started off 2-5, they're not really in a position that they want to be at, and they rather get ahead of this early before the hole gets even deeper. But I bet the question, man, if you were going to fire this man 7 games into the season, what was the point of fighting for his job in the first place? What was the point of putting your star player under all this distress in the offseason, which is very pivotal for NBA players? Put them through all the stress in the offseason just for a guy that you're going to fire 7 games inside of the season anyways. Kind of defeats the purpose there. But nonetheless, they said that they mutually agreed to part ways, the organization and Steve Nash. And he's been relieved of his duties. Jacques Vaughn is going to be the interim head coach But the plot thickens a little bit because the head coach that they're looking at next is going to be Ime Udoka, who's currently serving a suspension with the Boston Celtics for workplace malpractice, to where he had a relationship going on with one of the workers in the organization. Now, for me, man, that's a little too personal. And on this channel, you guys, we don't really go into people's personal life. I'm really more focused on their professional life and the things that they do on the court or on the field of play. And Ime Udoka is an amazing coach. Led that team to a championship last year. Gave the Warriors all that they could really ask for from that Celtics team that was a little young and was a little early to be there in the first place. I think Ime Udoka is an amazing hire for the for the Brooklyn Nets. I think he's going to be able to take this team to the next level and get them to do something that they haven't been doing, and that's playing defense. This team never plays defense. And for them to have such amazing defenders like Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, even Nicholas Claxton, for them not to be maximizing that defensive potential is horrible. And I think Ime Udoka is the right man for the job to pull that out. Now, with that being said, for a team that's already spiraling and for a team that's heading downhill, for you to make a controversial hire such as Ime Udoka doesn't really pull your rear end out the fire too much. But I mean, winning heals all. If they do end up hiring Ime Udoka, he comes in and start winning games. None of this will be a problem anymore. No one's going to even talk about the downward spiral that the Nets are going through. They'll just talk about how they're back at the top of the conference and back in the East. I give the Nets kudos for realizing that the situation that they're in is not the one they want to be in. And to know and recognize that something needed to change in order for them to be able to compete this season. The time is ticking for both of their players, Kyrie and Kevin. And they need those guys to be competitive and be one of the top teams in the East while they still have him. That window is closing shortly, and with every season that goes by and that you don't win a championship, is more and more money getting thrown in the hole. So they had to do everything that they could possibly do to try to make this team better. But that's it in a nutshell, man. That's the reason why, Steve Nash was relieved of his duties. They say that it has nothing to do with the players, even though I beg to differ. I think Kevin Durant not really backing him during the offseason has a lot to do with why he's unemployed as of right now. But that's going to be it for this one, you guys. Make sure you leave a like, smash that comment, smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Leave a comment under this video to let you know what do you think about the situation. Do you think the Nets are going to be better if they hire Ime Udoka, or do you think another coaching hire is probably going to be best for them? Let me know in the comment section down below. And once again, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.